My absolute favorite gaming console of all time is the TurboGrafx-16. Now that may sound a bit strange to most of you, considering how a guy my age would probably have grown up with the Nintendo 64 or the GameCube, and in that retrospect, you would be right, I did grow up with those systems. But it was through the Wii Shop channel on my Nintendo Wii that I learned the existence of a couple other systems I've never heard of. I learned about the Sega Genesis, Master System, Neo Geo, which is Street Fighter spam, and TurboGrafx-16. However, I didn't go and buy TurboGrafx games as soon as I saw them on the Wii, because at the time I was 9, and, well, I hated third parties back in the Wii era, and only stuck to Nintendo. With the exception of Sonic the Hedgehog every now and then, it was Nintendo only for me. I didn't follow any other third parties, and I pretty much avoided them at all costs. But wait. Now you may assume that because I was 9 and stuff, it just was natural, and I just happened to not get third-party games. And in some retrospects, you'd be sort of right, but that was mainly because I told my grandparents at the time to not buy me anything that didn't have the Nintendo label on it, and only buy stuff that I put on my Christmas list or just told them to get. Stuff I learned from the video game store, like Blockbuster, during the Wii era didn't really help much when most of the games I went to that were third party were mediocre, crap, or just all the above. So I basically didn't have much trust in third parties, and, well, I ignored them on the Wii Shop channel. And that includes the TurboGrafx-16. And pretty much the other systems too, outside of, again, Sonic. So, how is the TurboGrafx-16 my favorite gaming system when I never grew up with it, and the games I knew about when I was a kid I ignored? Well, you see, in 2011 I was getting back into the groove and decided to give third parties a chance again because the 3DS, and eventually through the Game Boy Virtual Console on the 3DS, I trusted more third parties in general for old games and eventually new games. So when I picked up a few CD games from the Wii Shop channel back in 2012, I was in love with the system. Castlevania Wanderer of Blood and East Book 1 and 2, they were great games. So I was super happy to have them in my collection, even though it was on the Wii. But with the Wii U around the corner, as much fun as I had with those two games, I wanted more TurboGrafx action, but I assumed they'd be ported natively to the Wii U eShop within the first year or two of its life. But that didn't happen. Instead, it took until the end of 2013 before a TurboGrafx game finally came out on the Wii U, and that was only in Japan. Yes, this trailer right here is how I first saw footage of Bonk's adventure, and thinking it was a cool looking TurboGrafx game and I wanted more TurboGrafx, I thought it would come to North America in no time. But instead we waited for 2.5 years just to get 3 TurboGrafx games in the Wii U, but we sure enough finally got them. So I finally got to play Bonk's Adventure in July of 2016. Well, 2.5 years of waiting, it's a long time for a virtual console game I could have bought on the Wii, but since I prefer the Wii U virtual console and I didn't want to go back to the old Wii unless I was mandatory, I stuck with the Wii U, and sure enough, what I think of the 2-year wait? Well, before we get into my memories of playing the game, let's talk about the history of Bonk. Bonk was pretty much an advertisement mascot for the PC Engine, the Japanese version of TurboGrafx. He was pretty much like the mascot of some comics in Japan, and these comics were pretty much silly, goofy little comics that starred Bonk, and there was really nothing of importance at the time. But eventually they decided to give him a game, and so PC Genjin was created. If I pronounce the full name of this, I'm gonna die, so let's just skip on to more history. Basically, the game did well, so it was brought over to North America, and Bonk was made the mascot of the TurboGrafx-16 after Keith Courage died in a fire because no one liked his game. Sadly, as you can tell by the obscurity of the TurboGrafx, though it's not as obscure as the Pokemon Mini, thankfully, Bonk then saved the system from doing poorly. With that bit of history out of the way, let's see how the game plays. The moment you press start, you're dropped into stage 1-1, which is a very basic platforming stage. You're able to get a look at the key elements of the game, such as the creepy plants, the ability to bounce off them, the ability to jump, spin in midair like crazy with the turbo button, or bonk enemies with the head, per the title. It's a simplistic action platformer, and it starts out pretty short and simple and really doesn't change from that. The first 2 levels are very basic when it comes to variety, but if you're lucky enough to find a piece of meat in the stage, Bonk's head will explode, and he'll transform into the almighty. Yes, Bonk transforms into a relative of Brock from Pokemon, and he also gains the ability to turn enemies to stone by headbutting the ground for some reason. It doesn't last long, sadly. If you get another piece of meat, or a bigger one, Bonk will explode once again and become Angry Bonk, who's invincible for a short amount of time before he turns back into China Bonk. Yeah, I know I made up those 2 names, but I couldn't really find anything for them on the internet, so you'll have to forgive my silly names. So with the basic game mechanics out of the way, let's go to 1-3, which is... uh-oh. Wow, I got a game over here. And yep, this is actual footage my first time playing this stage. If you aren't careful, then enemies and annoying obstacles in the stage will hurt you like crazy, but this isn't really that difficult of a stage with some practice. Same with the game itself, honestly. Passing to the end of the stage, you're taken to the first boss, who's also incredibly easy. One stupid line of text later, and you'll have to repeat this process a few more times with more easy bosses before you finish the game, with each world getting more and more difficult. And outside of that, there's really not much to say about this game outside the fact that it's a basic platformer. Some levels are cool, but that doesn't mean it isn't fun. Just because it's simple, it can be... But just because it's super simple doesn't mean it isn't fun. Bonking enemies is quick and easy to learn, and the spin attack is very amusing to listen to and abuse. Speaking of the spin jump, it's often used to access a few extras hidden about in the game, such as some stupidly pointless bonus games made incredibly easy thanks to turbo controls, along with the occasional secret room. There's even a handy shortcut in World 3 that requires, you guessed it, the spin jump in order to access, though that's only one of 2 shortcuts in the entire game. So, how are the other worlds in terms of variety and aesthetics? Well, World 2 is a boring desert and jungle world, World 3 is a boring ice world, World 4 consists of a very long stage where you must avoid an active volcano, and World 5 is a final world consisting of the longest stages in the entire game, followed off by a boss rush at the end before the final 2 bosses. Overall, I have to be brutally honest and just say that this game is pretty darn easy, with the exception of the final world mainly because of its length and the final boss being a huge challenge. I'm not kidding when I say that I abused the heck out of restore points attempting to find some way to defeat this guy without dying on my first playthrough, but no matter what I did, I kept getting crushed by his paws, so I had no choice but to use a continue, something I thought restore points would prevent. Thankfully, you only get booed back to the boss rush and not to the beginning of World 5, but eventually I made it back to the final boss and defeat him live on the stream, by taking advantage of the spin jump again. With the evil king defeated, Bonk saves the day, rescues the princess, and explodes in outer space. And yeah, that's Bonk's adventure. A very generic, short, and boring platformer, but in my opinion it was kind of worth the 2.5 liter wait I put on myself to check it out. For $6, it's not a bad investment, and if you have a Wii U or PlayStation 3, I recommend you check out those versions of the game, because they have save states and minor goodies like that. It's a fun little adventure on a system with many of them, though from what I hear the sequels are a bit more creative, especially the Airzonk spin-offs. As of right now though, Bonk 2, Bonk 3, or Airzonk 1 and 2 aren't available on the Wii U Virtual Console or the PlayStation Network, so you'll have to go to Wii mode, even though that's not really that. So you'll just have to wait like I do if you want a better version of those games, or just find it off Wii mode, or just grab it off the Wii Virtual Console. Nevertheless, I hope that this short review of Bonk's adventure for Eternal Memories was enjoyable, and that you got some thoughts about the game and the few memories I have of this title. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye! Yay, we made it to the end card again. Thanks to all who watched my video. I really do like making these. They are a nice way for me to express memories of my past or even just from a few months ago, as in this case, of games I enjoyed growing up with or just simply experienced and like the memories of. I plan to expand into some movies and maybe some other non-media for Eternal Memories episodes in the future, but at the moment I think I'm going to stick to a few more video games before I move on to other media. Still, thanks to all who watched this video. I hope you can give me feedback if you have any, and maybe subscribe for future Eternal Memories episodes. I do upload lots of gameplay videos as well, so you can see what sort of footage I'll be building in order to use for future Eternal Memories episodes. Either way, if you like gameplay videos or just want to see more Eternal Memories, give me support in any way you want, and I'll be sure to take in stride. Thanks.